It always comes to this. More nice shit. Morning guys, back again to do another tattoo progress update today. Where I last left off, I showed off the work on my hand with Rick. It's kind of started to peel. I think some parts of it are going to be better than others. Seems to be pretty typical for any hand tattoo, let alone when you get into full color over black. There's some spots I already see that are very obviously not in there, and other parts seem like they are, so it's whatever. We'll get there. I'm not too concerned about that. Still well within my budgeted 60 to 80 session territory with this sleeve at a combined total of, 54 sessions now. There's still things to do. We've got to hit the elbow again. Obviously the hand tentacles are probably going to need to be done again. The red we're going to bring up to the knuckles. And then we're going to be back into the armpit this week, which I am, well, in this area, the top of the armpit. Not quite the meat of the armpit yet. We'll be into that again probably sometime this year. This seems to take really, really well. So I'm anticipating a really good session with Rick coming up this Monday. So that'll be nice. It's always good to get something for your time. Something more than, just putting in the work. Sometimes that's all it is. Rapidly winding down my back piece with Terry. We're in 6 sessions. I'm going to talk all about that, obviously. We got a lot done this last session that he and I had. It was a bigger session than the prior one. And I think we did about 3.5 hours this week. But we got more work done this week than we did realistically the first 2-3 sessions, just because now we're in second pass territory and we can cover so much ground. He did put in some more black in places for sure, but you're not building the bones of the creature. And anytime you're like first establishing the picture over black and you have no lines there, you've got no shading of any kind, and you're working on a dark canvas, it's slow going. Once you have the picture there already, it's just kind of like you're brightening things, you're tweaking things, you're adding details and things like this. I'd like to think of this as like now you're turning on the lights. So it's like, of course, you're going faster than you were the first time. So anyway, before I talk more about it, I'm going to do my routine of showing off how the back piece is looking today. Let's hope this is working. So I'll give a good long view this time. So as I said, the blue, it did better and worse in certain places, and that was all 27 magged in, so there was no real expectation of getting that crystal clear on one pass. And again, that ice blue that we used wasn't incredibly prominent, so it didn't really have much of an effect. It did have an effect of lightening the black, so when we do a subsequent pass on the background that we did last week, it will actually go easier because of that, and we should have a fairly nice second pass. But I think we'll probably switch up the blue. I think if we did many passes of that blue, it probably wouldn't be a waste. Like, it would probably work. But I'm not really looking to do that, 4 or 5 times. I think 2 or 3 is probably good. So we'll probably just switch to the next densest light blue that we have here and roll with that, because the other blue did really well. This is not a knock against blue on black for anyone who's looking for that. It's certainly not. As already demonstrated, there are several blues that work. It's just there are some colors that just in general, even on negative space, don't have a ton of pigment. That soft white mixing pink is one that we've pretty well ruled out. We tried that on the center of the eye on my chest, or abdomen, whatever you want to say, which I'll show off, by the way, while I'm talking about it, because it's done really well. It's holding up great. I think when we finish the back, I'm going to do the session that I was talking about doing, where we're going to come in and we're going to line in some black around the side of it, which will take up some more of these little eyes on the sides here, the sunflower seeds, as it were, as people called them. This was originally a bug eye pattern, and for whatever reason, people seen a sunflower. It became a bit of a meme. Not to get into that too much. I think when we do that, we'll do the color one more time, because now that it's settled so well in there and you can see all the colors, it's like if we do another one, it's going to be like we're going to be talking into these levels. And so that will happen at some point. That'll be a fairly short undertaking, so I think there's a lot of fruit to bear on that tree. So you know, little things like that will happen, because I believe the back piece has probably only got another 2 or 3 months on it at the most. Realistically, I think, because this was the 6th session, we took a few weeks off. I think we probably been working on it about 2 months. The whole grand total of this project is probably only going to be, you know, we're looking 3 to 5 months on this, roughly. Probably more realistically 4 to 5 months. I doubt that we'll be done in 4 more sessions, but the next session we'll be working on the hand and the bell and kind of the lower region again, and some of the color, because like these sessions were all like we did the top and then we did the bottom, and the white and black, and those were each individual sessions, and then we did color. But in second pass, like we could have put in some color yesterday if it wasn't still healing, because we were moving so quick. We had that option, so we did more in the second pass through the white and black on black at the top than we did the first time we were there, and we even got down into the bottom a bit. But you know, so I'm assuming that when we hit the bottom of it, we'll have time to do probably a lot of the color the next day, in that same session. So expect like third pass on the eyes and some of the yellow and stuff like that in session 7. And then by session 8, I think it will be like adding details into the face, highlights and stuff like this, as I did with the original rose sleeve and my white on black neck roses, and even in the ones on my face here. We came in and we did a highlight of white in certain spots, so that you have almost levels of like black and gray shading. You can get like a brighter white, you have your mid-tone white, and then you've got your dark black, and you've got opaques, and you know, you can get a lot of different shades of black and gray this way. So that will probably be session 7, and then I would think session 8 will be something like maybe another round on the background and maybe a little bit more color in places. And if we do session 9 and 10 on the back piece, I think that'll just be polish. I actually don't think it's going to take much more than 10 sessions, believe it or not, which is crazy considering like how much area there is. And unlike the rose sleeve, and I know people probably aren't going to take me at my word for this, but I don't plan on changing the back piece a whole bunch. Once it's done, I'm done. Like, I'm going to let that kind of age, and if it does need touch-ups, I'll touch it up like you would any other tattoo. But I think once we have that thing at the same, or at the level that I want it to be, I think that's going to be good to go for the ages. I don't expect it to do much after that. It'll be more or less the same thing as what's happened here or in my armpits. But the armpits haven't had nearly as much attention as the back piece has had. Like, this is only 2 sessions on color and black, 1 session. So we do 10 sessions on that thing and then just let it be. I think that's going to be plenty. And then once that's done, I think we'll probably be by September, which I think this video will be going up in August. I'm in the beginning of June here, or middle June, I think. I think by September, I'll be able to be working on the tentacles on my torso again, getting them up to full color because they've gotten pretty lost with time here. Not because they're fading though, they're staying as they were. It's just they're not proportionate with the color that's happening here. So if we get these up to the same color palette as what's happening in the chest, they will really contrast heavily with the background that we've done with these purples, blues, and reds. Having more of that green and yellow kind of orangey feel, I think will really set them apart from the background we've established. And that's been the plan more or less now for quite some time. So it's just about getting there. Speaking of getting there, the way that I have set up my back piece sessions, it just so happens that because I expect things to be healing when we're working on such big areas, I don't have a session on my back next week. I have another one the following week, and then I have a session off from my back the week after that. So there'll be built-in healing time. Now that we have the thing where I more or less need it to be for the long term, and now we can kind of work on it, like give it some time in between sessions a little bit, it'll be the approach that I do, like okay, so maybe it's like skip a week a couple times so that things can catch up on healing. In those down weeks, I'm going to be knocking off some things that I've been planning on doing for a long time. It's been 5 years since I did my blackout fingers, and it's time to go again. You know, they haven't gotten any worse, truth be told. Maybe the tonality has changed a bit, but they've stayed pretty good. This one, not as good as this one, but I plan on doing both sets in my off weeks. So this next session I have with Terry, we're going to sit down for an hour, hour and a half, and we're going to blast my fingers and see how it goes. You know, I'm not working in the kitchen anymore. When I had my finger blackouts done the first 3 times, I had pretty tough skin from working in the kitchen. My skin's still pretty callous, but it's a lot better than it was. So that I think will help. Also, the fact that I'm not banging them around all the time when they're trying to heal. I have a pretty cozy life now. I do social media and manage a tattoo shop, so, and make money off of, you know, investments. So it's not the grind that it was when I was still working on my blackout bodysuit stuff. So, and fursuit. So I actually expect that these finger tattoos are going to heal easier, and I should probably retain more of the ink because of that. Also, because my skin's in better condition, it should take the ink better. They're not, my hands aren't dry and they're not as callous. So those are 2 things working on my side. Also, the fact that they've been settled now for so long. Like when I hit these the second time, it had only been a few weeks, but they looked really bad after the first pass. So it was making me like anxious almost. Like it was like, oh, I gotta hit these. They look terrible. And then the third pass was like 2 months after that. So I was hitting them pretty rapidly. It was kind of the same way that I did the red on this hand last year. It was like bang, bang, bang. And then when you leave that for quite some time and you come back to it and everything's settled, you usually get a better result. So some trouble spots are like, believe it or not, that's not negative in there. That's red from my old Spawn tattoo hand. So, but the trouble spots are like these divots, the knuckles here. We may try and dot that in. I don't know quite yet. I have these callus spots that have been saturated a million times. Every tattooer that's worked on those has been like, oh yeah, I can saturate those. And then they always go back to this flesh tone color. So it's, don't take it personally. There's just some things that aren't meant to be saturated. People have weird calluses in different places. After Terry red outed this one, he recommended that if we tried it again, maybe I could cut the callus off and see if we can get under it. But I don't know if that would actually work or just be a pain in my ass. Who knows? It's interesting as an idea, but I just think that I'm probably going to take a walk on that. It's the same reason I'm not going to bother trying to saturate these calluses here. I've got some pretty bad calluses from lifting weights. Those started in the kitchen, and because I lift weights, it's you know, they're always reinforced. So sometimes you can get rid of them and then they just come back. It is what it is. I've made my peace with the fact that I'm not going to have full saturation palms for all kinds of reasons. So I did a whole video on the topic. But I can get these finger blackouts a level bigger and or a level better. And these were done with dynamic black. This time we're going to be using Panthera black, which is the black that we're using on all the new stuff that's been done over my blackout. So the tonality will be different. I find dynamic black has more of like a dark blue base or blue quality to it, where Panthera, I don't really think that it's any darker, but it does appear grayer when it's healed. So it's more about that it's different tonally than it is that it's darker. And that change in tonality is enough that it makes a difference when you cover one black with another. It's almost like the difference in orange and red or pink and red. There's similarity, but there's difference. There's enough difference to keep things separate. I am looking forward to having a week off of my back because I've been hitting it real hard. It's a lot of painful stuff back there. Some of it's pretty easy, but I think my whole back could use the rest. And I'm not giving it a ton of rest, but even a week in between, 2 weeks in between, can be a lot in the middle of a big project. And where we're already so far into this, I'm committed to it now in a way that means it doesn't really matter how painful it is, it's getting done. And that was how I was with the back blackout as well. It's like you go into this like trance-like sort of invincible mindset of like, you could run a truck over me right now. If it took that, I'm not going down. You know, there will be no like quit. Quit will come when we're done. And when I mean done, it's like highlighted and polished and not just the first base pass. Like you see with so many people who get like a half-assed blackout that's pretty see-through. Like, no, it's going to be bulletproof and it's going to be there in no time. As I said at the start of this project was more or less set them up, knock them down from the start. It was planned out that way, and it will just go that way. Anyway, I'll be talking to you guys again next week when I'm back in here, and expecting a very positive result with that. So, talk to you guys again soon. Have a great day.